my name is Lykania. I'm the artist behind Lykania's Endeavors. This is the introductory lesson in the Furnace to Flame series, which is a class that I have been teaching in and outside of the SCA, which is the Society for Creative Anachronisms. I have taught a portion of this class, or presented a portion of this class at the Medieval Dress and Textile Society a year ago, November 2024. And I'm kind of tired of dragging the stuff around, so I thought I would just commit it to video. Today's portion of the class is going to be on natural glass. But before that, I just want to kind of give you some background on myself. So I have been interested in history since I was a little one, and most of my college work has in some form or fashion tied back into either education or history. So I have a undergraduate degree in social science education, and then I got a master's degree in special education. I went back to school and got a specialist degree in social science education, and in that coursework I focused a lot on museum studies. I joined the SCA, Society for Creative Anachronisms, back in 1990. I'd already been producing fantasy jewelry before that, and slowly over my SCA career I shifted my jewelry work from fantasy to more grounded in history. In 2012, I think I got that date right. You would think I would know this by heart. In 2012, I took a class on lamp working, which is the art of making glass on a torch. So it's small scale glass working as opposed to the large scale glass working that you think of with glass blowing. And then I got in a rut where I was just doing basically the beads I liked the most, which was eye beads. And then I got, like everybody, stuck at home during the pandemic. And so I used my pandemic time to build out a better studio and to start focusing on making historically accurate glass. And all that was built around one book, The Bead Maker from Reeb. And I'm sorry, I have a severe learning disability, and I know that there's a correct way of pronouncing this stuff, and then it just never comes out. And I'm sorry. Add on top of that, I'm American Southerner, so I'm going to do the best I can, but just forgive me for my effed up pronunciations of everything not Southern. Which is pretty much the entire presentation. Anyways, I got tasked with pulling together a project for Stella Nova, which is Meridies is the local kingdom within the SCA. So it's the regional branch group for the society, and they have a regional arts and science competition called Stella Nova, and it's really geared towards helping artisans who have never presented in this format before pull together a project. And so I was told you should do your reed beads as a Stella Nova project. So I did, and it went over rather well. And so then I was asked to represent our region, the Kingdom of Meridies, at a inter-kingdom, that'd be a national level or international level actually, competition. And so I added to my project, and at that point I had gone to the Corning Museum of Glass, and so some of what I had done there I brought into the project, including the idea of building a more robust studio that included the capacity to do glass blowing out of a furnace and a glory hole, big scale. So I hadn't really got that equipment up and running yet, but I did some smaller scale experiments using the concepts that I was going to implement with that equipment, and presented that at Gulf Wars. And then I just kept plugging away at it. And next thing I know, I'm presenting the material at the largest um, event that the organization holds called PennSIC. It's in Pennsylvania. I wasn't competing. I was teaching a class. I taught the Furnace to Flame class, and in its sister class called A Tour of Beads. I taught both of those up there and have continued to teach that class, both of those classes, both of which I intend on committing to video. A year ago, I presented a focused version of that class, just looking at Norse glass work, to the Medieval Dress and Textile Society's annual symposium in York. And that focus of that symposium was on Norse material culture. And that's the first academic presentation I have ever done that wasn't as a part of my social science work a long time ago. Right? About this class, it is not definitive. This is meant to be introductory, and it really only captures my understanding as of today's date. It's November 2025. Today's portion of this class is going to focus on natural glass. So this is the glass that Mother Nature leaves us. And the bulk of this presentation is just a walkthrough of the Corning Museums of Glass, Natural Glass exhibit, and then some additional information. Also, I will plug in some footage of my trip to Iceland, where that slots in. And just going forward, the class is meant to get us up into the end of the Viking Age. We're going to get to around the year 1000. We may cover some stuff that's after that, but the focus of the class is 1000 and before. So. I don't intend on walking us through the entire natural history of the world, but we're just going to take a moment and acknowledge the fact that the origins of natural glass is in the origins of the universe. The elements that make up glass, color glass, and are used to work glass have their origins in the Big Bang and in the crucibles that are stars. Over the natural history of planet Earth, the geologic and biologic forces that govern the planet worked silica into glass. Biologic glass can be exemplified by such things as glass sponges and rhodiolarans, both of which use silica to produce a skeletal-like structure. I am unaware of the use of biological glass by man, so we're going to move on. So non-biological glass is produced in a variety of ways. It is, for example, produced by lightning strikes. Sometimes lightning strikes will cause the silica in the ground to fuse together and form fulgurites. Again, I am not a geologist. This is not my area of expertise. I am generalizing these explanations. I am unaware of fulgurites being used as a source of material for the creative purposes of humans. So we're going to move on to tektites. And tektites are formed by the impact of meteorites. Corning Museum of Glass has quite a collection of tektites. Examples of tektites would be Liberian glass or desert glass. There's an example of a piece of desert glass. I think it's King Tut's grave, where a piece of desert glass had been carved into a scarab. So Libyan glass can be worked by man and was worked by man. Other examples of tektites that have glass properties would be moldavite, which is found as a result of a meteor impact in Germany, the region around Germany. And it has a greenish color. But probably the most famous type of natural glass is that is produced by volcanic activity. I recently went to visit Iceland and had the opportunity to take a helicopter flight over the erupting volcano there. And while the volcano was at the end of its eruption cycle, so there wasn't a lot of action to see, I did get to experience the impressive power of a volcano. And while I was in Iceland, I picked up some souvenirs of volcanic rock and volcanic rock beads. But these things aren't glass. But, you know, as a jeweler, I find them adjacently interesting to my topic here of glass. All over Iceland are scattered the remnants of volcanic activity. The most impressive of which I think are just the endless number of craters. Volcanic glass, such as obsidian, is where we're going to really begin our story of man and glass. The Corning Museum of Glass is where most of this information is going to come from. It appears that around 3000 BCE is when obsidian tools are first used. When we're talking about obsidian tools, we're primarily talking about things like arrowheads. I've got an example of a modern reproduced arrowhead made out of obsidian. And so this is a type of cut glass. It produces, obsidian blades produce very sharp blades. And by 1560 to 1530 BC, obsidian vessels are being made. So a vessel is a container. So this is carved obsidian. So in this period of time from 1500 BCE, when that obsidian bowl is carved, to the development of glass blowing in the 1st century CE, there's a massive development in technology and the science around glassworking. So thank you for watching. If you found value in this, please like, subscribe, and comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, you can support my work by going to any of my socials. I am on Facebook and Tumblr and here and YouTube. Please go to my socials and heart, like, comment, share, do all the needful things. You can support by going to likehania.com and you can purchase something. You can purchase glasswork or my other jewelry items. You can go to my merch store and buy a sticker, or you can just go to likehania.com, go to blogs, find a blog that's got a donate button at the bottom, and you can donate directly there. So at the moment, the GoFundMe for my trip for MDATS is still open, and there are rewards for participating in that. So at the lowest level, you get a thank you. At $10 and above, you start to get glass as a reward for helping me to cover the expenses on that trip. Look forward to seeing you again.